This year's Moto X4 has intrigued us nonetheless. In a nutshell, it is a mid-range handset with premium looks, one that just barely eclipses the G-series spec sheet, but stands out with its fancy construction, dual camera setup, and IP68 water resistance. But is any of these Moto X4 flavors actually worth getting? Design. While the Moto X4 steps down its price point from previous Moto X smartphones, the looks remain sharp, opting for a metal meets glass body with a mirror finish and the familiar styling of Moto devices. The X4 looks distinct and sturdily built. At the back resides a large camera hump, a circular plateau of sorts, which houses the dual camera, dual flash setup. Up front, you have a 16MP camera with its own flash and a fingerprint sensor below the 5.2-inch display. Aside from the light yet solid construction, IP68 water resistance puts the icing on the cake for us. This is a very welcome feature and a rarity in this price category. Display. Utilizing low-temperature polysilicon LCD IPS technology, this 1080p x 1920 pixels screen looks good to the naked eye and gets pretty bright. Deep, vibrant colors may have you thinking it is an AMOLED display, even though it's not. Colors actually appear more accurate on this display than on most AMOLEDs, but a lean towards the bluer end of the spectrum is revealed in deeper testing, a trait unlikely to cause much concern. 424 ppi also does its part to deliver crisp, pleasing images. Interface and performance. Amazon is offering what is basically the same Moto X4, but with lock screen ads to bring the price down. Prime membership required. The Android One version of the Moto X4 comes only with Google's own apps and services, without lock screen ads and without Alexa. The most prominent of these comes in the form of the ever-expanding Moto app. In here, you can enable the following. Moto Key, which turns your phone into an authentication device for your Windows PC. Basically, you can use the Moto X4's fingerprint reader instead of your account's password to log in. Moto Key authentication works with apps and websites as well. Moto Actions. This is where you enable gestures, such as a double chop to turn the flashlight on. You can also enable gestures on the fingerprint sensor, such as swipe left to go back. Moto Display. Similar to Samsung's Always On display, but instead of always being on, this screen is engaged with a wave over the phone, showing you recent notifications and the time. Moto Voice W, which responds to a handful of specific commands by bringing up interactive cards or apps elicited by a show me phrase. This is also capable of authenticating and unlocking your phone to display content or keeping the device locked and showing content on the lock screen. In terms of power, the X4 packs a Snapdragon 630 with 3 GB of RAM and 32 GB storage. These specs are not quite high-end, but performance was mostly pleasing. Animations weren't always the smoothest, but jumping back and forth through your busy, app-filled day won't leave you waiting or hungering for much more. Gaming, of course, is the least smooth, but still quite doable. Camera. Dual cameras, 12MP regular and 8MP wide angle, aren't the Moto X4's only camera trick. Within the interface also lies an object recognition algorithm used to improve shots and to allow the user to search by the objects it detects. Other more fun and unique shooting modes include selective black and white, which can delete a specific color from the shot, leaving portions black and white, and a depth of field mode which creates a desirable background blur around a subject. In terms of image quality, indoor performance shows good, though not amazingly rich, color capture. Generally speaking, we think most users will be satisfied by this camera, but grain reduction in low light and overall color accuracy could use some work. The X4's 12MP camera is capable of taking 4K video at 30 fps, while the wide-angle 8MP camera tops out at 1080p, 30 fps. Videos taken on both look pretty good. Of course, 4K will be sharper, but both captured pleasing video, with nice colors and decent exposure. The lack of video stabilization was missed most here, though. Multimedia. Watching videos and listening to music is a decent experience when utilizing the onboard speaker. The earpiece does double as the phone's lone loudspeaker, and while it's not ideal, it does get pretty loud. Speaking of loud, the Moto X4 does have a pretty cool party trick for media consumption. Tired of being constrained to only one Bluetooth speaker? Good news, the X4 lets you connect to up to 4 simultaneously. The only downside is that all other Bluetooth devices will be disconnected. Battery life. We're happy to make the acquaintance of Motorola's Turbocharge once again, as it can provide the X4 with 6 hours of use from just a 15-minute charge, filling the battery from 0 to nearly 30%. Charging from 0 to 100 was quick too, clocking in at about an hour and 40 minutes, while lasting over 9.5 hours in our custom discharge test. These results were pretty much on par with our real-world use, as the X4 had no issue making it through a day of heavy use. Conclusion. Motorola's traditionally done a pretty good job of giving us fun, unique devices. It may lack a 18:9 display or a bezel-less design, but this feels less significant on the Moto X4, not just because it's an affordable mid-range phone, but also because its Moto styling gives it character of its own. Stands out with its solid build quality, cool appearance, decent camera, and water-resistant construction. At the price points the Moto X4 can be currently bought, we're hard-pressed to find many devices we like more.